My voice is not really good, so I'm going to just manage to make this video. So last month I made a video about me being a working mom and how I manage that part of my life. In that video I mentioned how expensive childcare is. From that video I got quite a number of DMs, questions from people back in Nigeria. Some people are already here, and they asked me how can they boycott paying childcare, or what are some ways that I think I can recommend or I can advise them to use that they would avoid paying childcare. So I thought, for any other person who had the same question and they don't have the chance to ask, this video is for you to serve as a reference point for you. So in this video I'll be telling you 4 ways that you can avoid paying childcare as a new immigrant in the United Kingdom. Hey guys, I'm Blessing, and on my channel I talk about faith, life in the UK, personal development, and I just share basically my lifestyle. If you're interested, please remember to subscribe to my channel and also like and share with your friends and family if this information is useful to you. So yeah, let's get into business. Before we go into the options, let me tell you this, that when you're coming to the United Kingdom with children, you need to be very careful. First of all, childcare here is important. Back in Nigeria, we have the options of neighbors, friends. We can even leave the children at home while we go about our business. But here, it's not like that. I'm sure that you already know that. But putting our children in school is quite expensive. I might make a video of how much childcare actually costs, but that's not what I'm talking about today. So as an immigrant in the UK, your child only qualifies to go to school from the age of 3, and that 3 years old, they don't have full-time school time. They have 15 hours of school. So if you're working or if you're a student, you need definitely more than 15 hours for your child to go to school. So that's where we talk about childcare costs, because now you need to pay your own money to put the child in school while you're not with them. So that's what the childcare thing that we're all talking about comes from. But if you have a child that is more than 4 years old, then they're eligible to get 30 hours, which is between 8:50 to 3:15 every day. So if you have a child in that age bracket, then you are free. You can work your hours within the hours that they are in school. So I thought I should just chip this in before I go into the points. So these methods are methods that I used personally from when I just came into the UK and when I needed childcare support. So I am very sure that it will be useful for you as well. So my first option is working diligently with your spouse to manage childcare. This is my first option, and because you don't get to pay anybody to look after your child. So when I first came to the United Kingdom, I came to depend on my husband, right? My husband had a 9 to 5 job that he was doing, and I just came in, so I didn't really have something at that time. When I got a job, I looked for a night work that can complement the work my husband is already doing. So when I started working, I was already a student, so I wasn't really going to work 40 hours a week. I only worked weekends, so I used to work Friday night and Saturday night. Okay, I used to work Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday night. So I used to work Friday, Saturday, and Sunday nights. It doesn't interfere with my husband's time at work because he does a 9 to 5. The only time he gets to interfere is on a Monday morning. The way we do it on Monday mornings is he gets our child ready and takes him along with him to the town center. So they come and meet me while I leave my work at 8 o'clock. I'll meet them at the junction. I think at about 8:20 I'll already be there, and he's going to just hop on his next bus, and he will get to his job just before 9 o'clock while I take my son home and I go home to sleep. So that was how we were managing our childcare. I was only working weekends. and he was working his normal 9 to 5 job. But it got to a time where I now decided that I wanted to do more hours, so I increased my hours to 40 hours. In those 40 hours, I wasn't doing just weekends, I was doing weekdays as well. The same thing I do on a Monday morning, that's what I do in any other weekday that I work. That way you and your partner can work alongside each other, look for jobs that complement one another. This experience and these examples are from when I just came to the UK, where we were all struggling and trying to make ends meet. So this experience is mainly for people who are not financially buoyant, because if you're financially buoyant, obviously you'll be able to pay for childcare. But if you can't, these are the ways that you can manage the situation. Not everybody is married, because I got some questions from people who said they are single parent. So for a single parent, obviously this option doesn't go well. So the next option is you looking for communities that have large amounts of Black people. In the community that I am, I stay in the countryside, so we don't really have much of Black people or people that are from Nigeria here in where I stay here. So you can see, if I am a parent who is coming to stay here to study, it will be a very big struggle for me. So if you're on the other side, back home in Nigeria, trying to decide, one of the good things that you need to do is to look for the cities that have good communities of Black people. And how can you find these people? You go to places that have churches, like our proper Nigerian churches in the UK. So you have churches like RCCG, Winners, among others. So if you look for places that have those kind of churches, then you're sure that you will have Black communities. And when you have Black communities like that, you can then make friends with people who are in the same situation as you are. So there are some people as well that they have children and they are studying or they are working, they need support with their children. So if you make friends with that kind of person, then both of you can take turns to look after the children. So maybe you're working on a Monday, they're working on a Tuesday, then you can exchange children, and you see the childcare is covered like that. In this situation, it is always nice that it is not a parasitic relationship. It is not just one person depending on the other person. It has to be a vice versa. It has to be you give me, I take, I give you, you take, that kind of situation. When it turns to just one person doing it, it becomes malicious and problem will just come up from there. So that's another method where you can save on childcare. Next option is looking for individuals who you can pay less to do the work. This is also very handy in an environment where you have loads of Black people. So while we were still in Sheffield, we had one of my husband's friend had his cousin who came to visit. She has a son who was about the same age with my child. So we always had normal interaction with them until we needed that support. I approached her and she said, oh, she's fine. She's going to take, I think, about £20 per day. So those times where I needed that support, I think I was going to school Tuesdays and Thursdays, and my husband was working a 9-to-5 job. So how are we going to manage? So I would drop, I think my husband usually drop my son with her, and I go to school quite early to work, and he comes back early to pick my son up. So that was how we were able to use a service and pay her less, because she's not a registered minder. She's just someone who happens to be available and who is happy to take less money to look after the child, and she did a very excellent job. So you need to look for someone trusted, someone that you can trust. But you can see that in all of this, you need to be here first without the children to find these individuals. If you're with your children here already trying to look for this solution, it can be a little bit tricky. So that's one advice I would tell you, that when you're coming to the UK as a student, even as a worker, if you have children, it is advisable for you to wait a little bit before you bring them. Come to the United Kingdom, you yourself alone or you with your spouse. Come and stay for a couple of months, get everywhere prepared before you think of bringing your children. And within that period, you'd have made contacts with people, you'd have made friends with people, you'd have looked for individuals like this that could render the service at lower price. The fourth way, which I think is the best way actually, is if you have your family member, a trusted family member, maybe your mother, your father, your sibling who is not working or not doing anything back at home, who are available to come. This is like the best option, and they are very much available with you. You know that your child is at home with your mom. It is really good. We did this in 2018 when we now had 2 children, and obviously my husband continued working, myself, I am working. So my mom came for Mugo and she just stayed for 6 months. My mom came with my dad, then my dad left 1 month later, and then she stayed for the rest time that she was given, which is 6 months. So within that 6 months, you can achieve a whole lot for that period. So your parents can come not because you have any ceremony or anything. They can just come to visit, and with that period you can save a lot for childcare, and you'll rest assured that your children are at home with a very trusted person, you know. So until the parent or the person becomes bored of staying in this boring United Kingdom, then they can go back home. And it is really a good option. It's just that it's a little bit expensive because you have to pay for their visa and you have to pay for the flight ticket to and fro. But honestly, if you compare the money that you would save compared to what you will pay for that visa and the flight ticket, I think it is more than worth it. Another advice I would give, if you are a student, the best time that it would be nice for you to bring your parents, it will be during spring, so that as soon as you're finishing your term time, which you're going into the summer holidays, you have your parents with you and you have that full time to work as many hours as you want to work to save money. So you see that would be a very good time for you to bring your parents. So to be April, May will be a very fantastic time to bring your parents or to bring your trusted family member that would come here and stay. So these are some of the methods that I have used, and I found them very useful to me, and I didn't have to pay much for childcare until I'm able to now afford childcare, you know. So I hope this is useful to you. If you have any question, you can drop them in the comment section, or you can send me a direct message. I'm also available on Instagram. You can send me a message on Instagram if you have any other question. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I wish you well. Bye bye.